Hi crafters, thanks for joining me today. This is Jana with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we're going to make this card. Now this card I posted recently on Instagram and I had a lot of people asking for a video of it. So this is my take on the pillar card. Now I did not put a message on the inside, but you definitely can. This does stand for display. As you can see here, it stands up very nicely and it does have that 3D effect. And then this is the side view here, so you can see that it'll display and just have a little bit of thickness to it. Now I also made another card, and this one is with a cute little duck on the front and his little duck on the tricycle. This is the same style card and will display nicely. And on the very front of the card is where I did the layering of the pattern paper, and then I did the message on the inside on this one, and I put another layer behind it just to make that white pop out. Today we are going to make the bare version of this card. So we need our scoreboard. And for our first piece, this is going to be cut at 11 inches by 5 inches. Then we need a pattern piece, and this is going to be cut at 5 1/4 by 4 3/4. Next, you will need one piece, and this is 3 1/8 by 4 1/2, and again, this is a pattern paper. Then you will need one piece at 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And then you will need two pieces, and these are 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Now on these two pieces, you're going to turn it to the long side, and we're going to score this at 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, and 3 inches. And you're going to do that on both pieces. So again, 3/4, 1 1/2, 2 1/4, and 3 inches. So we're done with our scoreboard, so let's move that to the side. So for the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on these pieces that we just scored, and what we're going to do is we're going to just crease out all those fold lines. And they're all going to be the mountain folds. So you just want to crease those upwards towards you, even the smallest piece, and that's just to hold the glue on the one side. So I'm just going to grab my glue, and we're going to put glue on the first one. Just going to put it on that 1/4 inch spot. Now the easiest way is just to lay this flat on one of the folds and then just fold it in so that it meets up with that fold. And then you should end up with a box or a cube. And then just go ahead and crease out those sides again. So that's the shape you will have. So let's do the next one. So again, doesn't matter how you fold those, just crease those all so they're all creased out. And then go ahead and put glue on the smallest flap, seal it, and then make sure it's lined up, and then just crease it out again. And that'll give you your two pillar pieces for the card. The next step is to cut out the rectangle on the two smaller pieces that are the front of the card. So grab your trimmer, and we are going to cut the bottom piece first, and that will be the mat. So we're going to line it up, and we're going to cut a 3/4 inch square out of here. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up so it's at the 3/4 inch mark on the trimmer. Then we're going to bring in our mark at 3/4 inch and then score or cut it down to 3/4 inch. Turn it again, line it up so it's at 3/4 inch, and then cut out, start at 3/4 inch from each side. Doesn't matter which way you go. I like to do this so that my blade doesn't move. Again, I turned it. I'm at 3/4 inch. I'm lining up that first cut that I did, and then I'm just going to cut it down to 3/4 inch. And then I'm going to turn it one last time, line it up at 3/4 inch, and then I'm going to line it up and just cut between those two lines that I already have cut. And then your piece will fall out easily. And then for the smaller piece, we're going to do the same thing, but we're only going to do it at 1/2 inch. So we're going to cut this on the 1/2 inch line. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out because this is hard to see. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm just going to mark this at 1/2 inch. just so we have a spot on it so that it's easier to see when you do this. And so again, I'm just going to quickly mark 1/2 inch all the way around this paper. Okay, so I'm going to line this up, put it at the 1/2 inch mark, making sure my paper or my marker is at the 1/2 inch. And then cut down to a 1/2 inch from the top. Pick it up, turn the paper, again line it up at the 1/2 inch. Start that first cut line we just did and go down to a 1/2 inch. And you'll want to do that on all 4 sides. And then that will pop out. So we are done with our trimmer, so we're going to move that out of the way. And next we're going to work on just the base of the card. So the base piece, the 11 by 5, you're just going to score that in half. Or just fold it in half and then score it out. And then the piece of paper that is the biggest piece, you're going to glue that to the front of the card. That's just going to be your layer for your card. And I'm just going to glue that down and then just make sure that's even, and then go ahead and use my bone folder just to push all that glue out. Then we're going to glue this top piece to the frame, giving it just a small border all the way around. You could make these 2 pieces wider if you wanted to make a bigger window on the front. You just want to make sure that when you fold it flat that it doesn't extend to the other side so that your card will fit in your envelope. So right now I'm just gluing this on. I'm just going to get this as centered as possible. I know it's hard to see that the frame is there, but it is. Okay, so now for the pillars. So what you're going to do is these are just going to get glued to each side of this top piece. Now if you wanted these a little bit shorter, you could, so they don't stick out from the bottom and the top of the card. You can make them just a little bit shorter. So we're going to apply glue to just one side of this, and I'm doing this side that I had previously glued just so that border is on the inside. And then you're just going to line this up so it's lined up with the edge of the card, or the edge of the piece, and on that long side of that border. I'm just making sure it's even with the edge, and then I'll just push that glue out. So that's what you should have, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put glue on just one side of it. It does, if you have pattern paper and you want to match the pattern, otherwise it's just going to be one side of this has to have the glue on it. And then you're going to glue it down to this top layer. Again, making sure that the edge is even with the edge. And then just make sure your glue is all pushed down. And this is what you should have so far. So now we're going to glue this to the card. The easiest way to glue this is to just sit it on top of the card so it's fully standing up, and then you're going to line the edge with the edge of the card. So you're going to take the right side, you're going to put glue on the opposite side from the top, so it's exactly, so you have the layer on top, and then you want to glue that bottom piece. So we're going to put glue just on this bottom piece right here. And then we're going to flatten that back out. So just squeeze it so it's flat. And then just line it up so the edge is with the edge of the card, like I'm doing here. And again, you just want to make sure it's lined up and make sure it's centered in there. And then just push that glue out. And then when you push this back up, your card will stand like that. It'll lay flat for shipping, and then when you push it, it'll stand up. And then I'm just going to lift that up and just push that glue down one more time on the inside. Now for the next piece, you're going to do the same thing, and now I'm just pushing this down just to make sure there's no bow in it when I do it. I'm going to lift up the last side that we're going to glue, and you're just going to glue that bottom piece, and then you're just going to lay it flat the same direction you had it before, and then just push that down. And then your piece will pop up when you're done. So this is what you should have so far. And it should be able to go either way when you close it and will not hang over either side of the card. And that is the basic mechanism of the card. And you just want to make sure you don't have any extra glue on here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate this. So I have a bear, and he's just going to be hanging out on the side of the card. And I have a balloon that I'm going to attach to his hand. And just let him sit just right there on the edge of the card. Again, you want to make sure that when you are doing this, that he doesn't hang over the edge of the card when it's closed. Otherwise, he will, it won't fit in an envelope if you're using a 5x7 envelope. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on him. You don't want too much because you don't want him to be glued to the bottom side of the card. And again, I'm closing it to make sure he doesn't hang over that edge. And then I'll secure him down. And I have a sentiment that I used my R Memory Keepers label maker to make. And I'm just taking it, I'm just going to cut it down just a little bit. So I'm cutting it at approximately about 1/4 of an inch in on each end. Put a dot in the center of this, and then I'm going to cut from the corner to that dot on all 4 sides. And that just makes it more look like a banner. And again, when you put the banner on, you want to make sure that it's not sticking out the side. It can go over the top because this card doesn't measure 7 inches, so you can go further up on the height, but not on the width. So I'm just going to glue this down. Just making sure that it doesn't go over the edge. And then I'm just going to lift this and just put a little bit more glue down on the other side. And secure it there. So that's it. That is the card that we made today. Now you could add some more embellishments if you wanted. And this card does measure about 5.5 by 5. So it will fit in a normal, like I said, 5x7 envelope. And again, you can decorate the inside if you want. So that is our pillar card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time, happy crafting and see you real soon. Bye-bye.